Hello everyone, my name is Nur Akmal Zikri bin Nur Azman. I'm doing my second year degree and I'm going to do a presentation regarding about my research proposal for the class of BRS 20103 research methodologies. So I'm going to start with my topic, which is the importance of psychological health at work towards their well-being. For the introduction, social and environmental variables have long been recognized as contributing to the occurrence of many human illness. According to epidemiologists, workplace pressure, strain, and tension have been highlighted as potentially major health issues, as work is one activities that occupy most people waking time. There are currently several hypotheses positing a direct relationship between organization workplace stress and health established from a variety of viewpoints. There is a mounting evidence that current trend employment circumstances are undermining job satisfaction and negatively impact employee physical and mental health. Many occupations are changing due to new working methods and rapid technological advancements because nowadays in the digital era, people will encounter more problems. So modern problems should be solved by modern solution, which is doing a research so we can identify the problems or pattern and we can change it for a better future. Background of this research, the potentially negative impact of a job demands on employee has been well established on previous research. Work demands can take many forms and are seen as physical, social, organizational aspect of the work that required sustained physical and psychological effort are therefore associated with certain psychological costs, which means that work demand increase, it can affect on our emotion and our psychological in our mind. So in the long run, it can give a negative impact too. So however, not only work demands can cause job strains, but employees who are experience job strains also perceive more job demands over time. Therefore, especially through prolonged job demands, employee might enter a loss spiral of job demands and exhaustion and develop serious mental health impairment over time. This impairment leads both to high individual suffering of those affected and to a considerable impairment of work performance and productivities. Moving on is my problem statement is mental illness is becoming more evident. Mental health issues are one of the most significant contributors to global burden of disease and disability. Mental health issues account for 5 of the top 10 causes of disability worldwide. So they are significant in low-income nations as much as they are in high-income countries, and they affect people of all age, gender, and socio-economic classes. Furthermore, all forecasts shows that mental health problem will skyrocket in the future. As for my research objective, to establish whether there is a relationship between extensive workforce and employee well-being. Second is to identify the impact of psychological health toward employee performance. To understand, the third one is to understand whether employee and mental health is important towards work efficiency. The research question that I chose is how can we achieve an ideal workplace? How pressure work environment that leads to worsen employee mental health? What are the factors that can lead to mental health among employees? The significance of research is the goal of this study is to provide use information and required data from employees who are experiencing negative mental health outcome and how it's affecting their everyday life. We will also learn what caused the psychological exhaustion and pinpoint how we can deal with them so it does not interfere with our daily life. Scope of this research is individuals' experience at work, be they physical, emotional, mental, or social in nature, obviously affect the person while she or he is in the workplace. In addition, this experience also spill over into non-work domains. Workers spend about 1/3 of their waking hours at work and don't necessarily leave the job behind when they leave work site. Indeed, the overlap between non-work and work has become a popular research area where we can identify how people who get stressed at work leaving traces of negative vibe at home and their everyday life. The limitation of this research is the paucity of sample size was a drawback encountered during this study because the survey was conducted online and we were unable to reach out to more employees so we can get more feedback which can give out more pattern that we can observe and learn from it. There are also possibilities of employees scared to express themselves because of they might afraid they get in trouble and ends up losing their job. Uh, Malaysia is also a very masculine country where everybody are competing with each other and uh, the higher ups have more power and the power distance is high. So there is also norm that some individual thinking that pressure at workplace is normal because of their growing experience with emotional unavailable household. So psychologists in Malaysia is quite new and lots more people are get into psychologists and learn about it. So back in the days, the old ways, Malaysian people don't really um, acknowledge of psychological health, but as time goes by, people are slowly accepting of psychological problem in Malaysia. So the definition of key term is the key terms of our conceptualization of well-being and health. While definition and measure of health and well-being vary, there tend to be two salient person-related concepts that are often combined with more societal level perspective. The first is that health and well-being can be referred to actual physical health of workers and defined by physical symptomatology and epidemiological rates of physical illness and disease. The second is that health and well-being can refer to the mental, which is our mind, psychological and emotional aspect of workers, indicates by emotional states and epidemiological rates of mental illness and disease. Adding these two person-related dimensions are the social dimension of health and well-being, such as alcoholism and drug abuse rate and their consequences. So the structure of the proposal is basically everything from the chapter 1 to 3 that has been taught to us in research methodological class. The introduction, background of the study, issue statement, research aim and question, importance of the research, scope of research, limitation, definition of important terminology, and chapter conclusion are all included in chapter 1. In chapter 2, we learn about literature review, past study review, underlying theories, research framework, and hypotheses. All the conclusion covered in chapter 2. The study technique, aspect of research design, population and sampling, variable measurements, instrument and data collecting methods, data analysis, and chapter conclusion are all part of chapter 3. So the conclusion is the problem statement, research aims and question, relevance of the research, scope of the research, limitation of research, definition, important terminology, and finally, the structure of the proposal are all included in the first chapter of this study, which is this research. For the literature review in chapter 2 is psychological well-being is about life going well. It is a combination of feeling good and functioning effectively. Sustainable well-being does not require individuals to feel good all the time. The experience of painful emotions is a normal part of life, and being able to manage this negative and painful emotion is essential for long-term well-being. Psychological well-being is, however, compromised when negative emotion are extreme and very long-lasting and interfere with a person's ability to function in his or her daily life. Reviewed from the previous study is in previous study by Ruben von der Linde, which is correspond on the behavior dimension, but not the dimension value of health and health awareness. The employee rating of whole were predictive for their mental health, but supervisor rating were not. Also, no interaction effect was found, indicating that supervisor rating of whole did not influence the relationship between employee rating of whole and their mental health on an individual level. In other study, which is by Karen May, found that comorbid medical illness were associated with elevated level of psychological distress among employees. Psychological distress was strongly associated with 14 out of 17 health conditions and multiple other risk factors investigated in this study. For the underpinning theories is some theories view job satisfaction as being the positive emotional reaction and attitude an individual has towards their jobs. Others view it as bidimensional construct consisting of intrinsic and extrinsic satisfaction dimension, or alternatively of satisfaction slash lack of satisfaction and dissatisfaction and lack of dissatisfaction dimension. More recently, debate has been arisen as there whether job satisfaction is a global concept or is composed of facets of satisfaction with various aspects of individual job. A recent study also suggested that the most important determinant of a job satisfaction are whether an employee finds their job interesting, has good relationship with their managers and colleagues, and they also have high incomes. It allows them and we allow them to work independently, has clearly defined career investment opportunity. For the research framework and hypothesis is H1 is there is a relationship between extensive workforce and employee well-being. H2 is the impact of overload labor workforce on employee negatively, and employee considered that surrounding pressure can impact their efficiency greatly. So the variable is the social. I have three variables here, which is a social pressure, management pressure, commitment pressure. All can lead to bad psychological outcome. Social pressure is our surrounding when we are working with colleagues. It shows how surroundings can affect our psychological wise. Management pressure is while we're working with our colleague and how the boss or the higher up treats their employee also have a psychological outcome. And the other one is commitment pressure. We all go to work because we want to live our life, and how we manage the cost of our life is also can be affected in psychological wise. So in chapter 2 conclusion is we discuss literature review, prior study review, underlying theories, research framework and hypothesis. We may deduce the purpose of these studies from this chapter. So the last chapter is chapter 3, research methodology. The introduction is research methodology is more concerned on how a researcher plan a study in a methodical manner to produce an accurate and trustworthy result that address the research aim and objective. The element of research is to collect information from respondents. The study employed an online form questionnaire, which is me, a survey according to Swanson, is a very successful strategy to utilize since it allows information to be acquired from broad population at a cheap cost. This approach is used to determine the connection between employee burnout and work-life balance. The population can be defined as the entire group of people and event of interest that the researcher wants to investigate. Besides, the respondents are the ones who will involve in these studies to help us get the data. According to Sakarian, sample is a subset of the population. It comprises some members whom selected from it. For measurement and variable, the questionnaire is divided into 3 pieces. The first section includes personal information regarding our names, occupation, age, and the second section is a scale-based answer, which consists of question like, do you like your job? Do you feel stressed at work? And the last section is an essay. So we give an essay section because we would like to answer beyond our scope of our main purpose, so that maybe we can find other patterns that can be linked to our research. Instrument and data collection method is data collection is a systematic method of gathering and analyzing specific information in order to answer pertinent questions and analyze the consequences. Data is collected to be subjected to hypothesis testing in order to comprehend an occurrence. Data collecting may be classified into 2 categories. The first is the main data collecting effort, primary data collection. Data analysis, tests and tools. The process of gathering data through the use of devices that comprise of a series of questions and prompts meant to elicit a respondent from the people to whom it is delivered. Questionnaires are used to collect data from a group of individuals. To be clear, questionnaire is not a survey, rather is one of its components. A survey is a type of data collecting method to use a variety of collection tools, such as questionnaire. Questionnaire have 3 categories of questions. There are 3 of them: fixed, alternative, scale, and open-ended. Each question is tailored to the nature of and the scope of this research. For the chapter conclusion of chapter 3 is address research methodology, research design element, population of sampling and variable measurement, instrument and data collecting technique, data analysis, tests and tools. Those are the subtopic of this chapter 3 in order for us to get more accurate data. So these are my appendix, and it is a sample of, is a screenshot of my question that I have do in Google Forms, which is my questionnaire. So the scale base is, one of it is, do you enjoy your current job? So by doing the scale base, we can pinpoint some pattern that we can relate to our research. That is all for me. Thank you.